So my people, we are going to be explaining this our project, MoneyMoph Explanation that they call it. So yeah, I'm sending this. I should be uploading this on YouTube so everybody can have an access to it and just go through it before tomorrow. You get me? So in case the lecturer has questions and all, just use this as an idea to talk. This is not going to cover everything about Visual Basic or anything. It is just for our project and to be able to answer tomorrow. And then if you have already go through the shit, I'm sorry. If you have already go through the what's it called? The PDF sent to us, you should be familiar with Visual Basic small. You get me? So yeah, for people that have a Visual Studio, this is Visual Studio Code. This is where I will be reviewing our code and going through our code. And this is Visual Studio, Microsoft Visual Studio. That's where we write the project. That's an IDE. Visual Studio Code is just a text editor. Do you understand? So this is an IDE. You go to our IDE. When you create this IDE on the first time, you should see this option: clone a repository, open a project or solution. You see this open in the subject for us that already have a project that I want to open. But since I already opened it before, I can see the option here. Then I will click on it. It will open the project for me. We wait for it to load. You can see we have it here. So it is loading. You can wait. So I send the file to the group. We have the file with us. It is on our flash drive. So you can just use this file directly and then open the project. It will Visual Studio will open it. But most of us, I think most people doesn't have Visual Studio. I think everybody should go and get it. When you open the code, you can see this is the design. I want to click on the design. Everything is loading, it is the first time loading, so it will take some time. So we can give it some time and wait for it to load. So I'm coming. After watching this video I'm making, you can go to the group. You should see the flowchart that I created. Then you have more idea and know what to talk generally, what to talk about generally. That's like the high level of everything we created. Then going lower, in case the lecturer want to ask, that's why I'm making this video, to go lower and deeper. Yeah, you see now, this is our project. I want to make the screen bigger so we can see things well. Okay, so this is our program. Everything you can see. So first of all, we are going to run it, then see the debugging interface. Right now I'm running it in release. You can see this option here will show you if you want to debug it or release it. So I'm running it in release. So you get me? So let's run it and we can check if everything is working. Okay, because I am debugging a release, so I should not debug. Let me just stop it and just run it directly. If you are still writing the code, that's where you debug. You can just change this to debug. But since we already write it, we just want to test everything and get, let's use release directly. So you see the option is different. I did not click on the start option, I click on the run option. You can see the interface, everything is here. First of all, we have this MoneyMoph. This MoneyMoph is not going to change, so we use a label. If you have read a PDF, you should see something we call a label. So let's come here. Let me bring this here. Here you can see here in the toolbox, if you search for a label, this is a label here. Then we can bring the label to anywhere we want to place it. Then edit our label, but I'm not going to add it. But this is how a label is added. You go to the label, you click on it. Here you should see the options. Here you can see, instead of using label 2, you can just write a name or something, Muhammad. It will update the name, you get. Then you can design it with all these things. You can design the font to make it bigger, give it like 12 font to make it bigger. Everything you can do, everything here. We are not going through all that, I'm just telling you. So for the MoneyMoph thing, we use a label. That's because I not put any size here, so I can now, then we delete it. Oh shit. So I'm trying to delete it, so let's come back here, click on it. Okay, we click on the delete. So we deleted the two. So we use a label for this MoneyMoph. This how much do you want to convert is also a label. We are not going to change all these things, so we don't really care about them. This other countries thing is also a label. Now we come here. So this convert the box. The box is a panel. Get me? It is a panel. Let's come here. Here, this is the box. You can see here it is a panel. If you search for a panel in toolbox, you should see a panel. That's a panel there. So this box here is a panel. Then inside the panel we place a label. This is the label. The convert is also a label. Then we place another text. This one is a text box. A text box. That means a text will be able to edit. So you can see we use the panel to, and we place a text box here. Like, I think that's a text. It is called a text directly, a text box here. So this is a text box. That means we can edit the text, and you get, we put a default, we put in a default 100. That means if the user is not inputting anything, then the default amount will be 100. This is also good. So in case the user click on this thing directly without inputting anything, do you understand me? So it will still work. Yeah. So then the second one is also a panel, and inside you can see the color of the first panel is different from the second panel because we changed the color in the design and everything. Then the second panel, we no input any default price because we don't know what they are converting to or what it will be, so we just use a dot dot dot. Then here in this convert, this convert is the power point, I mean the powerhouse of our application, since it will be the one to run everything. When the user click on the convert, that's when everything will work. So we create a convert button, we give it a name. Inside it we call it convert. You understand me? So then the second one here, we also have a panel. We did not give it any border. Then we have the second panel here. This will show the I mean the individual the currency rate here. You understand me? It means one USD will be this in naira, or what the user input will be this in that. Do you understand? Then these available countries is just a button that gets all the countries in our application. That's we are working on 35 countries, so it just display the 35 countries for the user, and this end app will just end the app. You understand? And we have like five boxes here: one, two, three, four, five. This will display random five countries details. You understand me? So let's test our app. We explain what the interface is doing. So you see this five box here is for the other countries. You get me? So let's click on available countries. We are working on 35 countries. We have the available countries: Australia, the country, the currency code AUD, Botswana BWP, Brazil BRL, Canada CAD, Chile CLP, China CNY, and we have Nigeria. Let's find Nigeria, and you will see it as NGN. Nigeria NGN, Mexico. Then we have United Arab EED, United Kingdom GGP, United States USD. So we have the 35 countries. You can click on OK. You can see it. Then let's say if the user wants to convert, they will choose the currency they want to convert from. One of the reason we have these available countries is not everybody will know the currency code. When you come to the available countries, you search for the country you want. You get me? You want to know. If you want to know the United Kingdom currency code, you know it is GGP here. If you want to know Thailand, you know it is THB here. Then just select that currency code here. You get me? So let's say we want to change from GGP, that's United Kingdom, to Nigerian naira. So if you are going to use the 100, you can use 100. If you want to use 1000, add one. If you want to use 2000, input it, then click on convert, and it will work. Let's see. You can see 2000 GBP is equals to 390. I think is that 3,957,698 naira. Then 1 GBP equals to 1979 naira. Then to other countries, how much is 2000 GBP in other countries? We'll be seeing that's 12,052 in Malaysia, 787 in Kuwait, 2,300 in Switzerland, 46,847 in Mexico, and 3,557 in Canada. These five other countries, they are random. It is not the same. But one thing is, it will never be the same with any of these two we input. It cannot be GGP that we are using or NGN. If you change it to another country, it will never be any of these two, but it will be random based on other 33 countries you have available. You understand? So you can see it change. If you do it again, it change. So now we know how the interface works. So when the lecturer asks you what is the code, what is the code doing? Yeah. So in VB.NET, the front end, the design, will be talking with the back end or the code by this thing we call data binding. So anything you want to access from the back end, you give it a name from the front end, and you data bind it to the back end. Let's see this convert here. Let's come here. In this data bindings, you can see we give it a name, btn convert. That is the button to convert. Let's go to our code. I'm using Visual Studio Code because it is easy. This is our code here, but it is easy to access your code in Visual Studio Code because it is the text editor. You can see this one is not that it is not that easy to read. So we go to Visual Studio Code. Now we are finding the btn convert. Now when we write the btn convert code, so this is all the code. But first of all, how are we going to access our code from the front end? Let's say you are designing. We can stop what we are running here since we are not using the interface again. So it will bring back our design. Let's say you are designing, right? And you want to write code for this convert. You see, I have a text button here, but I've hidden it in the code to not show when we run the code. This is just to test my app when I'm developing, but in the deployment mode, it will not show. So let's say we want to write the code for this convert. You just click on it twice, it will take us to the back end. You can see now btn convert click, it define the function, and it says handles btn convert dot click. See here, this handles, let's go look it at it here. Let's go look at it here. This handles mean this private sub or this function we are defining, it will handle something at the front end, and what it is going to handle is this btn convert, but the event it is going to handle is dot click. If you remember, the lecturer talk about something like event, so when we say dot click, that's an event. So dot click, this is going to handle the dot click. So when the user click on it, so this is where it is going to get interesting. This video is going to be a long video. If you're going to contribute tomorrow and you want to contribute and you want marks and you don't want us to fail, kindly watch this video thoroughly and everything, jot things down, and you'll be good to go tomorrow. So let's go through our code from the beginning. I make this available in one class, public class. The public class is MoneyMoph. On a normal day, you are not going to create this yourself. Visual Basic is going to create it automatically. So when you create a form, maybe you create a form, you can actually create a new form here, but I don't want to do that. This is our form, and you click on this twice, it will take you to the code. Automatically they will create everything themselves, so you don't need to worry about how to create class or anything. So when you go to the class, now we have some variables here. I declare at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 variables. The first thing is I create a private variable. I mean, when you put something private in code like this, it means this data, these variables will only be available to this class. But when we create a public variable, we mean anybody with access to that class can access that information. If you are going out of this class, we cannot call anything private. That's why we cannot call all the private function and everything. So you don't need to worry about it that much. But if the lecturer asks you what is private and public, you should know private is only available in the scope of that class, while public is available everywhere. Anybody with access to the class can. That's why this our class, our top level class, is a public, because they want to use it in the design, so they will be able to call it anyway. Now let's leave that. I created a private variable called ast countries data. In our program, we are dealing it with countries, right? So this country data is going to be the A mean array, st mean strings. That means array of strings. That's how I will be able to recognize that this is a list of strings. In programming, there's something called array or list. It's just to stack data together. You get me? That data that stay next to each other in the memory. I don't want you to worry about that, but that's a list, you get. So it says array countries data. On a normal day, if you want to create array in code in VB.NET, you just call something like this. So you see, it calls something like this. That means we are creating 35 countries. This 34 mean the length will be 35. In programming, everything starts with 0, you get. So 34 means 35. So it means we are creating 35 list of data. But if you want to ask, why do we add this one in the second one? So this second one means we are creating two-dimensional data. That means we are creating tables, and there will be two datas in each. The first one means we are creating a list, and there will be one data in each. But the second one means we are creating a list, and there will be two data in each. So that's why we are using the second one, because we are saving two datas. I mean the country name and the country currency. That's the USD, the currency code. So that's why we save it with two-dimensional. That means 34. The list is going to be 35 long, and then the second data will be 2 long. That's why we put 1. Then the second one, we said st other countries. Other countries. So other countries, that's those are the 5 other countries that, if you remember me talking about it in the design. So that's why we put 4. That means it is 5. Then in the second dimension, this one is going to save 3. The first one saved 2, that's why we use 1, and the second one saved the 3, that's why we use 3. The country name, the country currency, I think. What's the other one? See, I forgot what the other one is for save. Okay, the third one will be the amount of that currency. Do you understand? The third one will be the amount of that currency in the other currency we are finding. You remember something. I said we are in the front end. Let's come here. I said any amount the user input here, it will convert it here, right? And then it will also convert it for other countries. The third data we are saving in that other country list is the amount per each currency. If you're converting from USD, so what we are saying is how much is 1 USD in this other country currency. Then when we get that, we can just times it with this 100. So that's the explanation. It is the third one is the amount per that currency we are changing from. It is programmatically coded, like it is not. It can change. We can use USD, so it can be NGN, it can be anything. Anything we choose here will be the amount that will be saved in this other country. So let's continue. You will understand as we move on. So then we said ST from country and S3 from country currency. That means a string of from country, that's the country the user is changing from, and a string of country currency, that's the currency the user is changing from. Then we create another variable of st to currency and st to country currency. You get me? To country, the country the user is changing to country currency, the country currency the user is changing to. So then we create a private function. I call it a design page. This function is used to design the page. Some things that we can't design in the front end and we want to design in the back end. So like the color, some of the color. The reason I did this from the back end is because most of this hash FCC is a color. This is hash code color. We don't have access to it in the front end. So but the back end, there is this color translator from HTML that VB.net provides to us that will convert that color, this HTML color, to normal color. So that's why we use it. So what is this design page doing? I said something. If you want to communicate with something from the back end, we give it a name in the data binding from the front end. So let's see this panel. This panel 1, I call it panel 1 because we have just 2 panel that matters to us, that we want to work with. We don't have a lot of panel we are going to work with. That's why I just give it panel 1. So we are just changing just one panel. So this panel 1, that's the data binding. That's how I can access it from the backend. So backend, I copy this panel 1. Then in our backend code, I said when we want to design this panel 1 dot backend color, the backend color should change to this color. Do you understand? So the backend color should change to this color. Then also we say the convert text dot backend color should change. The label header name dot for color. The label header, this is it. This is our label header. This MoneyMoph. You can see the label header name. It should change within the color too. Within the button convert color also within the color. Then the to label, that means the amount we are changing to, that should be around there. So we designed some things that is important to us. I don't want to go because time will be going. So if the lecturer asks you what is this design function is doing, you should be able to talk about it now. You know that this panel 1 dot something, the panel 1 is the name of something in the front end. Then we are changing the backend color to this. So that's how it is. Then there's another private sub. Sub is just like a program in our code. Then let's go to this front end. He said this is how this panel one dot paint, meaning we are going to paint our panel one. This is our panel, or we click on it twice, it take us to the back end, and it said panel one paint. So, and I create, and there's this function in VB.NET that says control paint dot draw border. You should draw the border, then the panel one dot client rectangle, change the color and give it a solid border. That's what we do here. Change the color and give it a solid border. So let's move on. I'm just trying to explain the code one by one. Then this MoneyMoph load, our form is called MoneyMoph, right? What we are just saying is when we load our form, what should happen? When we load it initially, that means initializing the app in our flowchart. That's what we call initialization of the app. So when we click on it twice, that means we are initializing the app. That means when the form load, what should happen? So now see this code. I said btn test dot visible should be equals to false. What I'm saying is my button that I created here, I'm using it to test this app. So I call it btn test. I don't want it in my deployment, you get me? So I want to hide it from the user. I don't want them to see it. So I said the visible value should be equals to false. False is a boolean value. We have a boolean value in our computer, false or true. So if you set it to true, it will show, and if you set it to false, it will not show. Then after setting that one, I call this design page. I declare the design page here and I call it here. That means after setting that, it should design the page when the form load. Then I set the screen to full screen on load. So I said set the screen to full screen on load. That means when the user open the app on a normal day, VB.NET will open the windows in like a minimized state. So when we said windows state equals to form windows state does maximized, we are maximizing it. That means it will show in a full mode and it's showing is in a maximized mode. Now we are now setting the country data. If you remember, we declare a variable here to store our country data. That's the country data array. Then we are now setting each country data in alphabetical order. I'm sorry if my English is not good. I'm not that good. I'm sorry, still coping. So we are setting our countries in alphabetical order. So A, B, C, D to Z. We said the countries, this is how we call it. We said the countries, the first data on the country, and that means the first column, the first row, the first column, the first data, the first data in that first data. I don't know if you understand me. The first data in that first data, he said Australia. That means the name of the country is Australia, and then the second data in that row will be AUD, the country currency code. You can see, then we set it for each country. We are using 35. You can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 till 35, because we start from 0, we reach 0. That's United States of America, and then the currency code is USD. When we load our code, we design the page, we set the country data. Then the next thing we do is combo box from country.items.clear. Let's come to our front end. I'm sorry, I think this is a combo box, not a panel. I think it is a combo box. No, yeah, it is a panel. Inside that panel we have a combo box. This is our combo box here. We give it a name, we give it a binding name that says combo box from country. This is the combo box that we save and have all our from countries data. That means the country we are changing from. And then in this second one we have the to country. It is also a combo box, but it is the to. You get? So in this code here, we now said in case this combo box from country have any data inside it, we don't want the data to like have an error or show any country that we don't want to show for our user, or show duplicate countries. So we are clearing everything in the combo box. That's why we said dot items. That means the items in that combo box dot clear. You should clear everything and there should be no item. Then we now loop through our countries data array. You know, in vb.net we have this for loop. We call it for loop. In our pdf you should see it there. It said for I as integer equals to 0, we declare that I equals to 0 to 34. That means from 0 to 34, that's 35. You get me? So if we say combo box for countries dot items dot add, from 1 to 35 or from 0 to 34, we should be adding each country. That means we are adding 35 countries in total. Then this is what we do. We call our AST country data. We access that I. If it run first, it will be 0. Then I will be 0 here. Then it will call the first data. Then the 1 means we are just getting the country data. Do you understand? The country name, sorry. If you remember the country currency. This 0 is for the country name and the 1 is for the country currency. That's why we say 1 here. So for the 35 countries, it is going to add the 35 country currency codes. Do you understand? So then we do the same thing for the country to box, because we are changing from the same country to the we add our 35 countries. I remember something now. What if user so if user choose the same country, it will just show you one because it is the same. Then we add all the countries to the true also. Then we set the default selected country data. When we run on our design, there is no country code here, there is no country code here. But when we run it, we can see we have a country code. It will show you USD and Nigerian naira. How does that happen? So we set it in our code. We said when the app is loading, from country should be this is it here. Combo box from country to selected item. The selected item for this combo box here should be equals to this country USD. You see it here. It should be equals to, we get it from the country data, and United States is the last data, so it is the 34th data, 0 to 34 you get. So then we said it should get the second data there, and then our second one, Nigeria, is on 20. It is the 21st country. Then we said it should get the Nigeria. That's why here you can see it says USD and NGN. That's how we do it in our code. Then the next thing, in the first place here, we said our from country and our to country. That's the country name and the to country name and the from country name. So we just update the data that it should get the combo box the selected index. That means what the user selected, which is the one we selected default. You get what is selected in that combo box to country, and then the first data there. Then the two, what is, you see there's a mistake here, safe. You can see here. This one, okay, it is correct. So from country is this one, and then to country is this one. So it is combo box from country the selected index. This will get the selected index. It will be an integer. When we add it to our combo box here, it is from 0 to 34. So this one will also be from 0 to 34. I hope you understand. So let's move on. That's what will be. So when our form loads, that's everything that will be happening. We are setting some default data and we are setting our country's data. So we have a function here. It is called fetch data. We are declaring some to country, from country to country currency, and from country currencies. So they will be useful in this our fetch data. So I'm coming. I think this fetch data it need a function here. So let's explain that function first before treating our fetch data. So let's explain this get random countries index. We are using random index now. We are using random countries. How do we get that random countries? Do you understand now? So this gets random country index. We get 5 indexes for you, or let's say norm of indexes for you. When you call it, you will give it a norm of index. That means the amount of indexes it should return, and it will return it as list of integers. Do you understand? That means list of 1, 2, 3. Any you get me? So first, we declare a random indexes. We can use this dim. If you remember in the PDF, there's something called dim to declare variables in the memory. So when we declare random indexes, we call it hash set of integer. That means sets of integer. Why set is useful is set will not save two datas together. If you have 1 in our set and we are saving 1 again, it will not save it. We only have one type, I mean one, I don't know how to call it, or I just mean one instance. Let me use one instance of a data in our set. Set is like a list but with no duplicate. We only have one. We do set in mathematics, so you should understand. In mathematics, you cannot have two data in your sets. I mean, if you are dealing with set, when you have 1, 2, 3, you cannot have two data. So you can just have 1, 2, 3, not 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. No, just 1, 2, 3. So that's what we call set. So we also have random. This random, I call my random as new random. Random is a function that comes from vb.net automatically. We did not write it ourselves. This random comes from vb.net. So I now create a dim from index as integer, then combo box from index dot selected index. That means anything the user has selected here, then to index is also what the user select in the second one. The reason we are getting this is to avoid getting that index again. So we will not be getting the currency the user already choosing. Do you understand? So anything they already selected, we should not be getting it again. It will be there for them as a data, so they don't need it as other countries again. So that's why we are getting this. So I now said for I, we said not I. Sorry, okay, this is not getting to the lecture, right? So we said for I equals to 0 to norm of index, we are doing for loop. That means from I to this number of index that they give us here. If it is 5, it will do from I to 5. That means it is getting 5. If it is 4, it will do from I to 4. If it is 10, from I to 10. So we now said this random index as integer. We are getting one random index for each loop. We are getting one random index, that we are getting 5 in total, or anything they give us in total. So we now say do. That means do this thing. This is another type of loop in programming. We call it do while. So this do while, we always do it first, then check the condition if it is. So I said do this thing. Do random index equals to random dot next. This random dot next means from 0 to 34, choose any random number. Do you understand? We said choose any random number. So we now said why you should keep doing this thing. Why this random index that we get equals to this. So if the user already choosing it, don't save it, redo it, or it is equals to this. So this or means if any of this is true, it will continue doing, it will continue. So if random index equals to from index, or it is equals to index, or this random index contain that index already. Do you understand now? So we'll be saving it to this thing here. We are going to save it here, right? So if any of this thing is true, if it is already in the set, if you are saving it in the set and we already have a value, we said set will not set two variables twice. If we set it twice, our program will not function well, or because it will not be 5 again, it will be like 4 or 3. If we want to make sure it is 5, we want to make sure this random index we are generating is not in our set. So if this thing is true, we get our random index, then we can now save the random index. We now say random indexes dot add that random index. Then after this 5 is done, we now return everything back to our user. So that's how we get the random index. Then in our fetch data, we come here, We get random indexes, random country indexes. We call that function we just finished now and we give it 5. That means we are getting 5 countries randomly. So from I equals to 5. Now, we just get random index which will just give us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will not give us the country gaga. So we now said for I equals to 4, we get the random index. Then other countries, we already declare other countries globally for everything in this class. Then we now setting each. It will be empty. When you declare a variable first, when we are saying we declare private, all those things, they are empty. So here we are giving that our random country, we are now populating it with data. We said the first data will be, we get it from our countries. We already set it when everything is loading. So anytime we are calling this fetch data, we are getting 5 random countries. That's why anytime we click on our button, it gets 5 random countries. That's how it works. So 5 random countries. So this our country currency, our backend, our backend, we want to send like 6 data to our backend. We want to get for our country the main one the user is getting, and the other 5. So we now create a string builder so to add others. So now st currencies, that's the currency we are getting from our backend. Then we append okay, we first create currency as string builder. Then we add our main currency, that's to country currency, that's the country we are changing to. Then for each integer, for each st currency, other countries also, we are now adding the currencies in that other countries. Do you understand? So we add it to our currency. It will be a string. So we remove the final comma here. So you understand? So we remove the final comma. So we are not going to send the comma to the backend. So I said here we are adding one comma and the country currency and a comma. So if you send the comma with it to the backend, it is going to add an error. So here we said if the currency is greater than 1, that's if you have more than one letter in that string, then it should remove the last one. That's what we just did. So that's what we do. Then here we use web request currency as strings, which is equals to the st currencies to string. You get me? So you just change this to a string back. So when you want to change something to string, there's this to string function. We change it to string. Then we create a URL. That's the URL of our backend. So we are using this backend. If you go online and click on this, it is going to take you to a backend, to a website. So this is what we are using as our backend. So we use it. We add all the country currencies to it. If you remember, in the PDF, there's something called concatenation. So this is the concatenation sign. So we concatenate everything. So there are 2 ways to concatenate. This is one, and there are others also. You can see the base currency equals to, that means the currency the user is changing from, and the currencies we are changing to, we are changing to 6. That's what we already packed together previously. So now we create a web request. That's how to create a web request. We said web request as web request. This web request is from vb.net .create. Then we add the URL. That means it is going to web request to create a web request. So request as http web request. Then we said our web request is an http. http is a protocol, and this there's no time. So then we say C type. In vb.net we can change something to a type. We change this web request to http web request. That's what we just do. So now we said this our request dot method. What we are going to do is to get in http. We have methods. We can get, we can post, we can put. We are using get, and then we said our headers That means headers, this is like a security protocol. Then we add our API key. I created an account on this our backend. They give us an API key. If we don't produce this API key, our function is not going to, our program is not going to work, and they will not give us access to it. Then we set the content type. The content we are expecting from this request is a JSON, application/JSON. Then we create a response text. That's the response we are going to send every time this fetch data is called. Then we change the response to a text. This is this. Yeah, we send the response text equals to the reader dot, you see reader as stream reader response stream. Response stream is equals to the response dot get response stream. We get the response stream, we turn it to a reader. Then we set the response text equals to the read to end. We read everything we are given to. Then we close the reader, and then we close the response also. So that way we will not be opening anything in our application. Then we send the response, we return the response text. So there's this catch here. We are using a try catch block. That means whenever we are trying this program, if any error happen, just catch this. If no error happen, return this. So when an error happen, this is the error as web exception. When there's an exception, sorry, not an error, they call it exception, but it's an error normally. So when an exception happen, a web exception, do this. If the error response is not nothing, that means if there is an error. So if it is not nothing, then return this. But if it is nothing, that means maybe we have an error on our application normally, then return this. No, if we don't have a web response error, then return the message directly. Now we now catch X as exception. That means general exception. If it is not, we have two exception here. There's web exception, maybe when we are requesting there's an error that happened, and then there's also the normal exception. That means the general exception in our, that's logical exception. Maybe something happened in our application, anything, then tell the user that an unexpected error happened. This is what we call error catching in error error managing or something in programming. I don't know what we call it. So that's what our fetch data do. Then the button click, this is our powerhouse, the powerhouse of our application. So we said amount to convert is an integer, right? Then the result we are going to return or to show to the user is a decimal. When you are converting, it can be dot something dot 192 naira dot something, so it is a decimal. Now we said this convert text, we are talking to our front end. We are talking here, this data here, this is the data here, this place. So the data here, we name it convert to text. That is the text that will be in the convert to. So sorry, that's not the data we are using. We are using this data here. That means the one that we give default of 100. You see. So now we said this data, if it is numeric, if it is a number, that's what if is numeric. So if it is a number, if numeric equals to true, then do this thing. I amount to convert will be equals to change this thing that user give us to change it to an int and save it here. Do you understand? Else tell the user that the amount must be a number. This is what we are saying. Let's see now. If you do anything here, it is going to work. But if you say API or anything, say convert, so you see your amount must be a number because we are inputting a string. And if you are not catching this error here and we just save it directly, we now send it to the backend, it is going to cause an error because we cannot do multiplication with a string. Now we set data as string equals to fetch data. Now let's get the data from our backend. We call this fetch data, that's our function we create, and call the data. It will get everything for us. Now we are not checking error from the data. He said if string is null or empty, that means if the function is not returning a data for us, if we are not getting a data, if this is null or empty, then we tell the user that we can't get data from backend. Try again. Maybe we don't have internet connection or anything. So I want to try this for everyone to see. So that's how we are managing our error in our application. When I disconnect my data now, so let's disconnect our data and call this. It can't talk to, okay, it said it must be a number. Let's give it 2000 or 200 or anything. Let's say convert. We can't talk to the backend. It load. When it is loading, okay, I think my data is not off. This only works because we can talk to the backend. Let's disconnect. Okay, we can't talk to the backend now. Let's send it. It will want to talk to the backend. Then that fetch data will be called, right? The first data will return an empty data because it can't talk to the backend. Now let's talk with it. Sorry, the app is not functioning. I think it is loading. You see now, even this error is not coming from that one we did. It is coming from uh it is coming from the fetch data itself. We manage the error already. This is where this error is coming from. You can see there's two errors there, right? The first error, I love as it is true, so I will be able to explain everything. The first error came from this fetch data. This is where we are catching the exception. You can see error. We cannot get this error. It will give the error code and the reason we can't get the. So now this one that we said we can't get data from backend. When there is an error, it will send you an empty data. So it says we can't get data from the backend. Try again. If you run it, you can't get data. You see, it's tell you the reason. We cannot connect to the resume server, to the remote server. Then this is the error. You can see when we on our data back on a normal day, if you do not do all this error handling or anything, the user will have to start the app again and everything will crash. But since we are handling our error, it will still work, but they will not be able to talk or do anything. They can still do all these things that doesn't need. You see. Now let's continue. So this is where we use JB object. You see this JB object, we are using a plugin or an external library in our file. This one. So that's the reason we are able to use JSON in our file, in our program. So here we create a JSON object. We create the JSON object and pass the data that we get. It will pass it and turn it to a JSON object. You get now? So the currencies will be equals to the JSON data. You get me? This is the JSON, and then inside the JSON we get the data. That means the data sent back, it will be returned as a map or something. So I was able to do this because I know what is going to be returned from the backend. So I know what to decode from the front end, from my code. So I now said if currency is not nothing and also currencies dot count is greater than 0. So the currencies is not nothing, we do not have null, and we have more than one. That means it return everything with other countries. If it's not greater than the 0, it can just be returning just the country code. I don't know why I do this, but I think is not nothing should be enough. But I feel it is fine. But I feel we can manage this error better. You see now, this is what I'll be doing. We are expecting how many currency in total? We are expecting 6 in total. That means the more we are changing and the 5 others, then we can say if it is not greater than 5, and is greater than how many? We can just use equals to 6. That means if everything is equals to 6, do you understand? Then it should do this. It should get the result. The result equals to currencies st to country currencies. We have this currency. I think it is it is a list, right? Then st to country currency, it is the JSON, right? Okay. Then we said the currency, the st from country currencies means we are getting that value of that JSON. I think it is like a map. Dot the value inside it of decimal. Then we say the value inside. I don't know. This is too broad to explain. So it is getting a map, right? The currencies is a map, and then inside the currency we can now say to country currency. I don't think will be chance to talk about this well. But let me just, I will go and look it well in case the lecturer asks. So this, what we are just doing is we get the country currencies data here. You see now, and we can just leave it like this. But what we are doing here now, it will crash it will not return the data for the normal one. Let's just do it like this. We don't need this if again. Yeah, because we already catch the error on the front end at up. Like it must be complete before we run this data. If it is not complete, it will just tell you currency is not complete. So we don't need it. So it now said for I as integer equals to 0, 2 countries dot get length. Other countries dot get length of the first data minus 1. So that means the length of it to that one. So it will get the length of these other countries. The length will tell you 5. You get? But if you say from 0 to 5, that's like doing 6 iteration. That's why we use minus 1. That means it will always do 5 iteration. You understand me? So it now said country currency value equals to currency. I told you that time that we are saving the country currency value here, right? Currency st country currency other country currency dot. This is to get the name, the country, the other country's code. You get? It will get the code, that's the USD, the SSD, the something. Then the value there, they will send us the value from the backend. So we are getting the value. After getting the value of that country currency, other country currency for each, then we will now save it to the third data. You remember I said the reason we put 2 is because we are saving 3. So we will now save it to the third country data. Then if there is an error there, if this is not true, it will say currency is not country or complete. So we save the country currency, we save the normal one, and we save the other 5. Do you understand? You cannot really understand that much because this is more deep than what we are doing. I don't want this to be too long, but to be able to talk something tomorrow, that's why we are doing it. So deck converted amount, that's the amount we are going to show to the user. We said the amount to convert, that's what the user gave us that time, times the result we get in this function. You see, we save the result here, and then we are timesing it here with the amount the user give us. So we now said if the amount is greater than 1, if it is greater than 1, then we can just round it, math.round. It will save it and round it up to the whole number. Since we are not giving it anything, it will say 0. That means it will round it up to 0. It will round it up to whole numbers. If it is 12.3, it will just return 12. But if it is not greater than 1, if it is less than 1, maybe 0 point anything or 0, so it will round it up to the 4 decimal point. It will round it up to 4 decimal point. That's it. That means if you are changing countries currency that are not that much, if you are changing from Nigeria to US, it will be giving us 0 point something or 1 point something or something. So if you are getting 0 point, if you use this directly, it will round it up and show 0, which is not useful. But if we use this, it will round it up to like 0.00, so it is useful that way. So we now said if the result is greater than 1, we should do this for the result also, and if it is less than 1, if we should round it up to 4. That's what we are doing. Now let's update the UI with the results. So converted to, this is how we update the converted to. That means when we click on this thing will change here, right? Okay, you see, let's give this like 2000. When we click on this will change here. How is it changing here? This is where we do it. So we said when we convert it, this converted to, when we communicate, we give this one a name in the front end. So we give it a name, then we access the name here. We said the converted to text dot text will be equals to this decimal converted amount. Then from country dot text will be equals to st from country currency. From country currency, from country, okay, country data. I think we did that one in the front end. I think they are here. This is it here. This one's here. This Nigeria, United States, all those things. This is how we are updating it. So we update it here. We give it the name, and so you can understand this by just seeing it. And I said there is two way of concatenating programming. The first one is using this sign, and the second one is using this dollar sign, and we put our result in a string. The one we want to concatenate, we will wrap it up with this curly braces. So that's how we do it. You can see other countries here. In the other countries boxes, there's each text in it, one text, and the text we give them CD, that's country data, other country 0, 1. That means the first one, this is the second one, the second one, the second one, up to 5. Then here we updated the 5 on the first one here. We are giving it 3 data. We update everything. The second one, the third one, we give it till the 5th one, then we give it. Then the text response, I think this is just me doing text. This is when I'm testing. We can comment this out or delete it. So this is when I was testing and I did not use that test again. We can delete it. You can see that's it. End test. End test. This is not useful. We did not use it. We can delete it. So you can see this private, so another sub combo from country selected index change. That means when the user change this thing here, so when we change this thing here, when we are changing this thing here, we need to change all our data. So when we click on this convert, it will change what it is sending. You understand? So this is what we do when it's changed. We save our data at the first step. We said the from country, then we just change it. Then we change the index, we update it, we update the currency, we update it from country, and we update the currency. So whenever we are using the data anywhere in the application, it is going to use the updated one. So when the user updates the tool also, we update it. And this is for my text. This is just to text. And this one is the available countries button. So this is available countries. Is just we create a variable that says return string, and we return it as a message box. The message box is what we use to show diagram to the user at the front end. So he said for I as integer is 0 to 35, since we have 34, since we have 35 countries, st countries is equals to st return string. You mean this is what we do? We said this st return string equals to this st return string. That means the one here before, it will take it, then it will add new one. That means the I. This is the user, the I. It will get the I from the country data that we save, and then get the first one, that's the country name. Then also get the second one, that's the country currency. That's how we were able to show. Let's run the app. That this is what we do. No, not convert. It said available country. So this is what we do there. You see the Australia, then the Australia country currency code. Yeah, it means we get the current, the previous one, we add the new one, the data, we get the data from what we already saved, the country name, then the country data, the country currency here. So I know this. Then the last button, this is the button end app. This is it here. To end our app, inside it we just say end. This end mean it will end our program. So I know this is not going to be like a deep understanding, but it will definitely help you. It will help you. So I'm trying to find the error. This code I copied get one error. Be like say na that place. So let's paste it again. Two errors okay. We have changed something here that is causing error in our app. So let's find it. Okay, we said this place in vb.net equals to is not 2 equals to, I'm sorry, it is just 1. So that's the error. You can see we have no error again. So just change it here. We have no error again. We can run our app once more and let's see what we get. Let's test this one more time. This is the last time I will be testing it. Then I will update our files that we have in our program. You know, we have changed some things. So you see, when we click on available countries, you can see it shows us all the available countries. You see there's this one comma at the end here. Can we remove the comma? Yes, because we already do something similar in our app. You can just go copy that code here. I think we use it in our fetch data. In our fetch data, this is it. So we can just copy it, then come here. This is where, okay, after doing everything, you can just say if this one, you can see we can just change those things. You see, I don't know why it is showing error. Let's see why it is showing error. Okay, if you want to do that, we are going to use string builder. String builder. So let's just create a string builder. You see, then instead of adding it here, you can just append. You can just append. You can append this inside it. You can see, but we will not need this again. Since we are appending, we don't need to get the previous one. We already give it a space. You get? So we now said minus equals to 1. Now we will now update our this one. We will now say equals to the string builder, or we can delete this and just return string builder dot string. You can see. So let's run it. If it work, we don't want that last comma there. Okay, we write the code together. You can see how coding works. It is not that big deal. We write the code together. If they ask question around that place, you watch it. You should be able to like should be able to talk. See, let's click on it. You see, there is still a comma. So there is still a comma. We will go to that last place we use it. Why is it? Maybe we are doing something wrong. We are debugging now, but I don't want to create a debug or anything. Maybe we are still going to use that one. Let's just do it like this. Get me? Or it can be how we were creating our string builder. You see, I think it is how we are creating our string builder. We want to remove the last comma. That's why we are doing this one. So let's see now. It is not working. Why? But I don't think it is a big deal that we should be disturbing ourselves. Although it is a better way of even doing this to use string builder. Oh, I think I get it. There is no space there. So no, not that one. Mm-mm. Okay, let's try and run it again. Okay, let's see. I don't think it is that important to if you leave it like that. Oh. But this one is working. Why is that one not working? Wait. I feel you can even look, to maybe I think I got the problem now. We left the space at the back of that end, so it is counting it as an alphabet. So that's why it is not removing. Let's see now. You see, it works, but we need space. So I know what we're gonna do. Let's do it the last way we did it. So let's remove two instead of one. I'm just trying to like finish this thing and move on. Jare. Maybe we finish and move on. Ah, mm-hmm. It should work. It don't work. Ó ti tán báyìí. So I feel if we click on convert, it works fine. When we click on end up, it end. So I will be copying this file now to this our I will input our the flash drive we bought. So you get so let's go to this MoneyMoph, this is our program. You want to copy this program, no sorry, copy it, then come to say no be fake drive person go buy like this. Wait, I will try and create it in my own app first. So I'll just make a folder. Name it COS. So I will paste that MoneyMoph inside it. So everything will be there. Our release, in case the lecturer asks you tomorrow. So let's come here. The bin, if you want to run it, we go to bin. Then under release, we should see one application there. This is it. So when we click it, it will run directly tomorrow. So in case this is where we are going to run it, from that file we go to bin, we go, you see, we don't need to open Visual Studio or anything. Shall you get? So let's come back. So this is the file, and we have our MoneyMoph there. And I want to copy the flow chart. This is our flow chart. Then when this our boss is done in with the group slide, we will paste it here, and we will copy this file, we will copy this COS file on our what's it called, on our drive. Then we'll meet tomorrow for that. Thank you. I do wish us all the best, and this is a long video already. I hope you will be able to watch it. It is not going to explain everything to you. It was not meant to explain everything to you. It is just true, like, you get me. Prepare for tomorrow. Thank you. See you tomorrow, guys.